When Scrooge awoke, it was so dark that looking out of his bed, he could scarcely distinguish the transparent window from the opaque walls of his chamber. He was trying to pierce the darkness with his ferret eyes when the chimes of a neighboring church struck the 4 quarters. So he listened for the hour. To his great astonishment, the heavy bell went on from 6 to 7, and from 7 to 8, and regularly up to 12. "12 o'clock, but it was past 2 when he went to bed. The clock was wrong. An icicle must have got into the works. 12 o'clock? Nonsense. He touched the spring to correct this most preposterous clock, but its rapid little pulse beat 12 and stopped. Scrooge went to bed again and thought and thought and thought it over and over and over, and could make nothing of it. Marley's ghost bothered him exceedingly. Every time he resolved within himself that it was all a dream, his mind flew back again, like a strong spring released, to its first position and presented the same problem to be worked all through. Scrooge lay in this state until the chimes had gone 3 quarters more, when he suddenly remembered that the ghost had warned him of a visitation when the bell tolled 1. He resolved to lie awake until the hour was past. The quarter was so long that he was more than once convinced that he must have sunk into a doze unconsciously and missed the clock. Oh, such a deep, dull, hollow, melancholy 1. Light flashed up in the room upon the instant, and the curtains of his bed were drawn aside. The curtains of his bed were drawn aside, I tell you, by a hand. Not the curtains at his feet, nor the curtains at his back, but those at which his face stared. Scrooge found himself face to face with the unearthly visitor who drew them nearly nose to nose.
Are you the spirit, madam, whose coming was foretold to me?
I am.
Who and what are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Long past?
No, your past.
Oh. Please, spirit, cover your head. Your light blinds me.
What? Would you so soon put out the light I give you? Is it not enough that you are one of those whose passions made this cap and forced me through whole eons of years to wear it low upon my brow?
What business has brought you here?
Your welfare.
Much obliged, I'm sure, but I'd rather be asleep.
I've come for your reclamation. Take heed, rise and walk with me.
I am mortal and liable to fall.
Take but a touch of my hand there, and you shall be upheld in more than this.
As these words were spoken, they stood upon an open country road with fields on either hand. The city had entirely vanished.
Good heavens. I was born in this place. I was a boy here.
Your lip is trembling. And what is that upon your cheek?
Nothing, it's just a pimple. Lead on if you must, wherever you would go.
You recollect the way?
Oh, remember it. I could walk it blindfold.
Strange for you to have forgotten it for so many years. Let us go on.
They walked along the road, Scrooge recognizing every gate and post and tree, until a little market town appeared in the distance, with its bridge, its church, and winding river. Some shaggy ponies now were seen trotting towards them with boys upon their backs, who called to other boys in country carriages and carts driven by farmers. All these boys were in great spirits and shouted to each other until the broad fields were so full of merry music that the crisp air laughed to hear it.
These are but shadows of the things that have been. They have no consciousness of us.
The happy travelers came on, and as they came, Scrooge knew and named them, every one.
Why, there's little Billy Wilson and Charlie Granville. My word, they're all here.
Why was he rejoiced beyond all bounds to see them? Why was he filled with gladness when he heard them give each other Merry Christmas? What was Merry Christmas to Scrooge? What good had it ever done to him?
The school is not quite deserted. A solitary child, neglected by his friends, is left there still.
Wait, I know that child. I know him as I know myself. No, it can't be. That boy, I am that boy. I wish, but it's too late now.
What is the matter?
Oh, nothing. There was a boy singing a Christmas carol at my door last night. I should like to have given him something. That's all.
Let us see another Christmas.
Scrooge's former self grew larger, and the room became a little darker and more dirty. The panels shrunk, the windows cracked, fragments of plaster fell out of the ceiling, and the naked laths were shown instead. But how all this was brought about, Scrooge could not say. The door opened, and a little girl, much younger than the boy, came darting in.
Dear brother, I've come to bring you home. Dear brother, to bring you home, home, home.
Home, little Fan?
Yes, home for good and all, home for ever and ever. Father is so much kinder than he used to be. That home's like heaven. He spoke so gently to me one dear night when I was going to bed that I was not afraid to ask him once more if you might come home, and he said, yes, you should, and sent me in a coach to bring you. And you're to be a man and are never to come back here. But first we're to be together all the Christmas long and have the merriest time in all the world.
You are quite a woman, little Fan.
Come, what a merry time we will have. The best Christmas ever. Come, the carriage is waiting.
Bring down Master Scrooge's box there.
Master Scrooge's trunk being by this time tied onto the top of the carriage, the children wished the schoolmaster goodbye, and getting into the carriage, it drove gaily down the garden sweep.
Fan was always a delicate creature, whom a breath might have withered, but she had a large heart.
Oh, so she had. You're right. I'll not refute it, Spirit. God forbid.
She died a woman and had, as I think, children.
One child.
True, your nephew.
Yes.
They were now in the busy thoroughfares of a city, where shadowy passengers passed and repassed, where shadowy carts and coaches battled for the way, and all the strife and tumult of a real city were present.
Do you know this place?
Oh, know it. I was prenticed here. Why, it's old Fizwiggy. Oh, bless his heart. It's Fizwiggy alive again.
Yo-ho there, Ebenezer, Dick.
That's Dick Wilkins, to be sure. Bless me, yes. There he is. He was very much attached to me, was Dick. Oh, poor Dick. Dear, dear.
Yo-ho, my boys. No more work tonight, Christmas Eve. Dick, it's Christmas Eve, Ebenezer. Let's have the shutters up and before a man can say Jack Robinson.
You wouldn't believe how those two fellows went at it. They charged into the street with the shutters. 1, 2, 3, had them up in their places. 4, 5, 6, barred them and pinned them. 7, 8, 9, and came back before you have got to 12, panting like racehorses.
Hiley-ho, clear away, my lads, and let's have lots of room here. Hiley-ho, Dick, cheer up, Ebenezer.
Clear away? There was nothing they wouldn't have cleared away or couldn't have cleared away, with old Fezziwig looking on. It was done in a minute. In came a fiddler with a music book. In came Mrs. Fezziwig, one vast substantial smile. In came the 3 Miss Fezziwigs, beaming and lovable. In came the 6 young followers whose hearts they broke. In came all the young men and women employed in the business.
Well done, everyone. Let's have more dances and food and drink for everyone.
When the clock struck 11, this domestic ball broke up. Mr. and Mrs. Fezziwig took their stations, one on either side of the door, shaking hands with every person individually as he or she went out.
Merry Christmas to you, and Merry Christmas to you. See that you walk straight. Dear, my dear Mrs. Fezziwig, I think he has drunk enough. Merry Christmas to all. And Ebenezer and Dick, what a merry time we all had. Now it is to bed in the back shop. Sleep well, and Merry Christmas to both of you.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Fezziwig. Merry Christmas, Mrs. Fezziwig.
During the whole of this time, Scrooge had acted like a man out of his wits. His heart and soul were in the scene with his former self. He remembered everything, enjoyed everything, and underwent the strangest agitation.
What a capital fellow Mr. Fezziwig is. Don't you agree, Dick?
A capital Ebenezer, and that man can dance.
That he can. I say we are the luckiest of any prentices that ever lived.
I won't argue with you there, Ebenezer.
A small matter to make these silly folks so full of gratitude.
Small?
Why? Is it not? He has spent but a few pounds of your mortal money, 3 or 4 perhaps. Is that so much that he deserves this praise?
It isn't that. It isn't that, Spirit. He has the power to render us happy or unhappy, to make our service light or burdensome, a pleasure or a toil. Say that his power lies in words and looks, in things so slight and insignificant that it is important to add and count them up. What then? The happiness he gives is quite as great as it cost? A fortune?
What is the matter?
Nothing in particular.
Oh, something, I think.
No, only I should like to be able to say a word or two to my clerk just now. That's all.
My time grows short. Quick.
It matters little. To you, very, very little. Another idol has displaced me, and if you can cheer and comfort you in time to come, as I would have tried to do, I have no cause to grieve.
What idol has displaced you?
A golden one.
This is the even-handed dealing of the world. There's nothing on which it is so hard to bear as poverty. and there is nothing it professes to condemn with such severity as the pursuit of wealth.
You fear the world too much, Ebenezer. All the other hopes have merged in the hope of being beyond the chance of poverty. I have seen your noble aspirations fall off one by one until the master position gained and grasped you. Have I not?
What then? Even if I have grown so much wiser, what then? I'm not changed towards you, am I?
Our contract is an old one. It was made when we were poor and content to be so, until we could improve our worldly fortune by our patient industry. You are changed. When it was made, you were another man.
Bah! I was a boy!
Your own feeling tells you that you were not, that you were what you were once. But I'm still what I had promised to happiness when we were one in heart and fraught with misery now that we are two. How often and how keenly have I thought of this? I will not say. It is enough that I have thought of it and can release you.
Have I ever sought release?
In words, no, never.
In what then?
In a changed nature, in an altered spirit, in another atmosphere of light. Another hope has its great end in everything that made my love and any worth or value in your sight. If we had never met, tell me, would you seek me out and try to meet me now? No, you wouldn't.
You think not?
I would gladly think otherwise, if I could, heaven knows. When I learned a truth like this, I know how strong and irresistible it must be. But if you were free today or tomorrow, yesterday, you would choose a dowerless girl who weighed everything by grain or choosing. For a moment you were false enough to your guiding principle. It would acceptance and regret surely follow. I know it would. And I release you with a full heart for the love of him you were once. You may have pain in this for a very, very brief time, but you will dismiss the recollection of it gladly as an unprofitable dream, from which it happened well that you were awoke. May you be happy, Ebenezer, with the life you have chosen.
Spirit, show me no more. Conduct me home. Why do you delight to torture me?
One shadow more.
No more, no more. I don't wish to see it. Show me no more.
But the relentless ghost held him in both his arms and forced him to observe what happened next. They were in another scene and place, a room not very large or handsome, but full of comfort. Near to the winter fire sat a beautiful young girl, so like the last young girl that Scrooge believed it was she, until he saw her, an attractive matron sitting opposite her daughter.
Belle, I saw an old friend of yours this afternoon.
Who was it?
Guess.
How can I? Oh, I don't know. Mr. Scrooge?
Mr. Scrooge, it was. I passed his office window, and as it was not shut up, and he had a candle inside, I could scarcely help seeing him. His partner lies upon the point of death, I hear, and there he sat alone. Quite alone in the world, I do believe.
Spirit, remove me from this place.
I told you these were shadows of the things that have been, that they are what they are. Do not blame me.
Remove me, I cannot bear it. Leave me, take me back, haunt me no longer.
Scrooge was conscious of being exhausted and overcome by an irrepressible drowsiness, and further of sudden being in his own bedroom. He had barely time to stumble into bed before he sank into a heavy sleep. He gave the cap a parting squeeze, in which his hand relaxed, and had barely time to stumble into bed before he sank into a heavy sleep.